Hey guys, welcome back to Christmas Movie Club. Tonight we're doing the third movie from the second week of 2021. This was an unusual movie. It was different. Let's go ahead and get started with the questions. How well does the movie poster convey what the movie is about? I don't think that this movie poster conveyed what it was about very well at all. It doesn't show anything really. I mean, the only thing I think that the movie poster gets right is it has a sailboat, it has Christmas lights, and the characters are spaced far apart from each other. It doesn't look like it's mostly a romance, because this, although it has a piece of romance, to me that's not the main story. I couldn't have guessed what this story was about from this poster at all. Having seen the movie, I think the poster represents it well, but it didn't help for beforehand. Anyway, if that makes any sense at all. What was your favorite part of the movie and why? I think that my favorite part was when they lit up the end lights. I really had no idea what that light display was going to look like on the boat. And when they started the projector playing of the pictures, that was really special as well. I think that was my favorite because it was where Luke showed, I'm gonna say Liz, hopefully that's her name, that he cared for her and was willing to make the sacrifices necessary for them to be together. So that was my favorite part, where it was just like, aw, and it all came together. Did this movie melt your heart? Yes, actually. When Joyce took such good care of, is his name Ed? They don't say the names of the main characters very often. Have you ever noticed that? I can remember the other characters much better than I can our main characters. But when the way that Joyce took care of him, that was so sweet to me. And the dad realizing that he needed his family, that Christmas was a time to celebrate together. This was a heartstring puller of a movie for sure. Is the plot well organized? Did the sequence of events feel real? Overall, yes. The plot sequentially walked us through. We didn't jump around a lot. The only thing that really didn't feel real was the Christmas ball. The idea of, do you want to go tonight? Oh, we'll see. And then it was that night, that they're talking about it. It felt odd. It felt like there wasn't enough time to make that kind of plans, or to say, oh, I'll think about it. If it's that night, then you don't have time to think about it. I would have liked to have understood a little bit better the day sequence, which for me is quite often common in Christmas movies. Were you rooting for the couple to get together all along? Why or why not? I was rooting for them to get together, although I didn't actually realize that it was going to be a romantic interest until a little bit into it. I actually thought that they would have thought of each other as brother and sister based on the very beginning. So I thought that it was a best friend, sibling type of relationship. I was kind of surprised that they were interested in each other. So I guess after I wasn't all along, because I wasn't when I thought they were like that with each other. But once I found out that he had liked her for forever, then yes, I was rooting for them. And I was rooting for them because they had that familiarity together. They had known each other for forever. They knew the bad, the good, and everything else, and they still cared about each other. So that seemed like, even having been apart for so long, so that's a really good combination, I guess, that they just naturally fit together, and they're more likely to last forever. So I think that was a really, and the fact that he looked after her dad, and they're very sweet together. Was the couple's connection believable? If so, at what point did they click for you? Yes, the couple's connection was believable for me, but I found it a little bit hard to believe that they had both always liked each other and that neither one had ever done anything to make the other one realize it, that seemed a little bit far-fetched. But as far as, the connection that they had, it didn't scream of like heat. It was more like a smolder, I guess. They just felt good together, as far as like as if they'd been together for forever because they'd known each other for so long. So it's a different kind of relationship. It's almost like stepping into already being married for 5 years or 10 years. So that was that's a little bit different, but the connection was definitely there. They clicked together. Did any actors make you think of other actors? Oh, I'm so glad that I got this question, because she reminded me of Renee Zellweger, actually. There was just a few things in her mannerisms that just made me think of her. And then it was driving me crazy to figure out where I knew the dad from. It turned out to be Hawaii Five-0. But I don't think that any of them had, on the breakdown, they could have put like Renee Zellweger type. But I don't think that that's what happened in this movie. I think that there were just a few mannerisms that made me think of those actors, but not that that was intentional. Were there times you disagreed with a character's actions? What would you have done differently? I disagreed with our main character from the very beginning, because the idea that she wasn't going home for Christmas because her dad was grieving for her mom in a way that didn't mesh with her. I mean, she made a comment that he didn't let anybody grieve in a way different than him. But I actually don't see that to be the case, because she had the ability to come and go. She could have gone and stayed in a hotel. She could have gone and decorated her room. If Christmas decorations are what was so important to her, she could have done something differently. I think that it should have been more about being with him and helping him through that hard time. So I disagreed with her decision to not be there in the first place. Which character did you empathize with the least? Liz is the character I empathized with the least, because I felt like she ran away from her problems instead of being there where it was painful. The fact that she has a job in Seattle made it so that she didn't want to come back home. She would instead rather Luke go to where she is, when, I mean, her dad's there, and I just don't understand why she wouldn't want to be in this beautiful small town with the memories of her mom, where her dad is. They've got all these traditions that she loves. So, not that there's anything wrong with it, but it doesn't resonate with me. So that's why I'm going to say I empathize with it the least, because it doesn't connect with me personally. And it said I had to pick one. So there you go. It's her. What do you think happens after the end of the movie? So I actually was not super happy with the way that this movie ended up. So what I think happens, because of the way that it all came down, I think that he will go back and forth for a while to Seattle, and they will date, and they will try to make it work. It's going to be hard, but I don't think that they stand the test of time. I do think that she keeps a good relationship with her father. I think that the granddaughter, I think that Hannah and her granddad become the best of friends, and I think that they are really strong after all of this. And I think that Joyce and, I hope his name is Ed, I think that Joyce and Ed end up together once he finishes healing. I think that they do stand the test of time, and he'll find love again with her. But the other two, I don't see it. Would you watch a sequel or a prequel to this movie, or do you think it's best as a standalone? If so, what questions would you want answered? I would watch a sequel to this movie, and because I don't believe that the two will make it. So I would want them to answer the questions of how do they make that long distance type of relationship work? And once they decide, if they were to decide to get married, how do they do that? I mean, you make long distance work, but at the same time, if the goal is eventually marriage and family, then eventually someone is going to have to give. Something is going to have to change. So I would want those questions answered. And how does it all work? What other movies by this director have you watched, and do they have a recognizable style? Well, let's go see who directed it. There are 2 directors. Neither one have pictures. Stacy Brody. This is her only thing. And then Stacy Harding. No, there's no distinguishable style for her. So there were 3 scenes that kind of stuck out to me as things I want to call attention to, or that spoke to me, I guess. The first is when Liz first arrives in town and Luke carries her bags to the car with her, and she instead goes down to look at the boat. And he's running back and forth with the luggage. Like, he can't decide, should I follow her with the luggage? Should I put him in the car? And that felt so natural and realistic that it was just very, very funny. The fact that her mom, she said, that angel was Mom's favorite. And Mom always let me put it on the tree. That was really beautiful, because so many times we all save our most favorite thing for ourselves, and we say, no, that's very special. I will move it. I will do whatever it is. And we don't trust other people to touch it because it's our favorite. And I just thought that was really beautiful that she allowed her daughter to put it on the tree as her favorite. And then when she was turning the wheel on the boat, like the thing that does the sail up, that made me think so much of me, because that would be me. I wouldn't ask for help. I'd just keep doing it, just be yelling at it, and just like, how could it not move? So that was very relatable. That felt like something I would definitely do. And there's 2 quotes tonight. The little girl who said, when she said to Joyce, "You smell like cookies." I mean, that was just beautiful. And then I think my favorite quote, though, is when Hannah tells her grandfather, "You're on the nice list." And he said,
"Yeah, well, that'll be a nice change for me."
One thing that was missing in this movie, though, was music. There wasn't a lot of music, and music always makes me light up. So I do think that my favorite movies tend to make me want to sing along. It's an interesting realization. Merry Christmas! See you next time! Why do I wave? See you next time! Thumbnail time. Gotta make that thumbnail. There are 4 people in this image. I don't think I want to try to do 4. I really don't think I want to try to do 4. So let's... I kind of just want to do her. I kind of just want to do the little girl. Maybe we'll... I don't know. We'll see. Alright, so she's like... Oh, am I off camera? I'm off camera. Alright, and I gotta do the rest of them just in case. So. And then Granddad is... Alright, 4 people on the poster. That's so hard. So hard to do. I will do my best. We'll see what happens. Ta-da! Okay, time to shut everything down.